Everyone, this is Nichel Anderson. I'm your host for my podcast show, Surviving Your Journey Towards Success. So today, episode 100, I have the topic that I want to focus on today, which is when you want to change careers but don't know how. All right, so we're going to kind of dive into that today. And I just want to say thank you so much for following me for my podcast show here that is based off my book, Corporate America, Surviving Your Journey to Success. You can get that copy of my book at Amazon or Barnes & Noble. If you already purchased my book or you were planning on purchasing my book and you really enjoyed my book, Corporate America, Surviving Your Journey, I do ask that you leave a review, and I hope I get a highest star there if all possible. And so I do appreciate that. I also have my website, nichelanderson.com, where you can sign up to be a part of my e-newsletter club, where you can get some discounts on my merchandise. That I have t-shirts, I have mugs, journals, and so forth. You can sign up to that and be a part of my newsletter group there. And the other thing that I want to kind of talk about before I move on to my podcast topic today is that if you want to be a guest speaker where you will have an interview and you can talk about your industry, you can talk about your journey in your personal life and how you overcame things to help the audience that's listening to my show, I would definitely appreciate that. You can go ahead and apply. You can go to Nichel Anderson and you will see guest speaker there. You'll click that and you'll fill out that quick application, and then we'll reach back out to you. All right. So I'm also going to be doing a webinar, a free webinar. Definitely you'll see information there on my official website. You can sign up for there as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump into this. So this came to me while I was on summer break, and I wanted to kind of focus on the part about when you want to change careers and you just don't know how. Okay, how do you go about do that? So before I get into that, let me go ahead and say my prayer, and that is, in this day I am thankful to the prime creator of all things, that I give thanks for this blessing and opportunity, that I will use it for the greater good. So welcome my survivors of the journey to my podcast that aims to inspire and motivate, that you will continue to have joyfulness in your heart, peace of mind, and for your sustained success. Okay, so I like to motivate people. I like people to think about ways that they can better their life. I like positive energy. Who doesn't? It's a very good thing. And we're going to talk about where you've been in one career for a while, and all of a sudden you just get not bored. I would like to say that you just get tired of the routine, and something in you caught your interest, and you're thinking, oh my goodness, but how I'm going to be able to do that? How I'm going to be able to jump to that? How I'm going to be able to, jump into that and succeed, right? So failure, I like to say failure is basically an opportunity for you to learn what you need to learn. So I'm going to do like an example of when I arrived in Atlanta. My background experience was not in filming, right? I'm a writer and an author. And so all I had was my background in corporate America, in the office. And it was told to me that I didn't have the skill set to do it, either from a talent or actor, mostly for the actors of talent, I should say. Which is weird, because those that can write control the scene and control the words that are spoken. That is power, you see? So I'm going to stop right there, and I'm going to go to where you're at if you're listening in. You take what you have, what you can do, where you've been in the previous career, and you look to the new journey or the new career, and you have skill sets. And that's just putting something on paper and outlining it and sticking to the steps. That's a skill set. If that's just understanding from what one pot can do with soil and another pot can do with a different type of soil, you just understood that because maybe you were in the flower business and now you're looking into being a dentist hygienist, understand how things change over time, how you have to keep the weeds out or the toxicity. Same thing with a hygienist, have to look at the root and the soils, the gums, and keep the toxicity out, what tools that will work. You see? So basically what I'm saying is that do not let anybody tell you there's no way you can do it. When they say that, they basically saying, no, you might can do this. But you have a lot of people that are lost in their own self, and to see anybody succeed is their misery. So when I go to my next section of my podcast, which I talk about my main points, which are my important point number 1, and then my wisdom point, which is number 2. So my important point that I want you to listen to is that sometimes your once thought career can change you to wanting to experience something different, or life makes a turn that you are on a new path into a completely different industry. That's a good thing, because we have seasons in the year for for a reason. Change is life. Sometimes you have to say, when it comes about, like, oh my gosh, I don't know how I'm going to do that. And then that experience of like, ooh, how I'm going to, and you don't have to worry that, well, I can't be everything. And I'm not talking about that. It's going to be something that you can do. It's going to be in line. It's going to be definitely seated prior. And it's all going to make sense in the future. So my wisdom point, which is 2, is career changes brings forth a wealth of opportunities. Okay. So why is this so? Well, it's a part of life that we seek and want to know in our own way. Some people are happy with their career for years and decades, and if asked or probed somehow, each day creates a different experience and they are evolving into their craftsmanship. Others, after time, get bored or not, I wouldn't say frustrated, that's not the word I want to say, but maybe just something different. It's just in their heart. It's the way the air is different. And they're looking at the canvas of life and they want to create something different. All right. It's perfectly normal and fine on either experiences that I just said. So who are we talking about? So we're talking about when we look at others in the workplace, in the financial, or any other type of, it can be in cooking, it can be, in gardening and farming. And over time, you get a little bit wanting to do something that brings you a newfound happiness, right? So how you can go about doing that and making that change is finding out what you initially need. That's step number 1. Is it a degree that requires you need a college degree, or can you get certified? How much money is needed to be able to get that certification or get a degree? Or maybe you could just be an apprentice. You can look at that. So number 1 to me, all that what I just said is basically understanding what's required to get to the point that you're doing that new career. Number 2 is the income about it. Is it something that will produce income? Will you need to keep your other place of employment or what you're doing while you work on your new path, right? So you want to think about that. Number 3, you want to do an overall assessment of the people that's in the new career. Are they happy? What are the fallbacks? What are the difficulties of that? What if all of that rolled up and you still like, I still want to do it? And that's your passion. So in those 3 aspects, it's basically how you can change and make that change into a new career. So let's go a little bit further. What are the additional ways to make the change in a career successfully? So just to recap and kind of touch on that again, is that you want to plan ahead of the top 3s that I just mentioned. And then overall, you want to feel that you still love this opportunity that you see. You want to find ways to get where you need to be for the research that you did that gives you the full-blown information required in changing your career. And you do it step by step, not big steps that help you to be able to feel comfortable about it. All right, let's get to the strategy to succeed. Number 1, you want to identify your passions and then match that up to a career that satisfies that. At least 2 out of 3 of when you make a list of what you're passionate about that's associated with this new career. And maybe you don't know that that's what you want to do, but you still want to be able to do that, make that quick list, that you'll be happy in that field. So if you are a personality that vibes well with the environment, you want to seek something that either you are discussing matters of that or you're producing of such matters like horticulture or logistics or something like that, to understand the different elements you have to be accustomed to and are you okay with that. Next, you want to identify your pay grade, and I mentioned that earlier. So you want to recap that. These are your strategy to succeed. And by accepting that pay grade, you're willing to accept the highs and the lows. Lastly, number 3, you got to plan out your timeline blueprint to when you would do this to get to that place of fulfillment. When you do your passion, you're so happy. And I can vouch for that. I had to go through all that craziness and the drama and the negativity, but I love writing. I love creating things. And then when I was able to see my creativity and it was acted out or performed and the pieces was coming together, we still have issues, but overall, that aspect of it was fulfilling. And so I kept going and kept moving. I'm so happy that I did. And that leads me to your Task to Dust to Dawn that got me to be the first person to do that film over W.E.B. Du Bois and to be the writer of that script and the writer of those scenes and directed it and filmed it. So you want to research your passion and then let the sky be your limit to where you will be in your new, better career. All right. My motivational takeaway today is basically what I just said. You want to research your passion and then let the sky be your limit to where you will be in a better career that motivates you emotionally, right? to a way that you can further go into your life purpose, because it is a journey and you deserve to not only survive it, but enjoy the walk on your new path to your destiny. All right. Thank you so much. Join me on my website, nichelanderson.com. Join me on social media. I'm on Twitter and I'm also on Facebook. All right. Thank you.